It's your boy Mikey too. We're talking about the mystery of the black sun itself and a lot of conspiracies surrounding, the solar eclipse and, throughout antiquity, like what is the esoteric meaning of the solar eclipse and why, like a lot of you know, rituals, blood magic rituals actually happening during the eclipse. And I just saw this eclipse and this inspired me to make this video about the eclipse itself. So let's just get into it. Like, total solar eclipse are one of the most beautiful sights ever. Like, it's so fucking crazy.
I am very, very excited to be talking eclipses with you today. Thinking it is about the right time now. So, the root word for eclipse comes from the Greek word meaning abandonment. Remember that abandonment.
What's up with that?
A total solar eclipse happens at new moon, but to actually see it is so very unlikely anyway. If the moon orbits the sun every month, why don't we see an eclipse just as often? Well, maybe we actually do, but they say that because the moon actually orbits the Earth on a 5-degree tilt, so not only does the so
Yeah, that's what they actually say. Like, I'm so over this, this stupid naturalistic explanation or something. Like, we can see clear contradictions in the actual observance of certain sites itself. So, like, I'm very skeptical about the fact, about explanations, astronomical explanations of the naturalistic worldview. Like,
called ball Earth tilt at 66.6 degrees, so does the moon at 5 degrees. So when this moon travels between the sun and the fake bald Earth each month, it usually is too high or too low in the sky to pass in front of the sun. It's only once every 18 or so months that it drifts into this perfect lineup and blocks some of the sun's light from reaching us, creating the total eclipse. But yet, this could be something entirely different, friends, rising throughout its cycle on the plane. Maybe the meaning of an eclipse should be a black sun that shines, contains the paradoxical play of light and dark, life and death, spirit and matter during its partial, annular, and total paths circulating the Earth without.
and we'll talk about the meaning of the infamous black sun symbol used by the Nazi party. Like, we'll talk about that too.
Geocentric luminaries. Is not a so-called black hole just a heliocentric way of admitting the black sun could be here? Like the Van Allen radiation belts for the firmament, and not that owl lucky likey cartoon either. This is the NASA website showing us a very mystical dark luminary. Can you see it? Now also known as Rahu. Could this actually exist here?
That's what they usually call it. It's just like another mystical, like, a phenomenon or some kind of like a celestial object that's not like, and the mainstream has not given us explanation what this actually is. So, this astronomical object has always been present throughout antiquity, even in the Hindu mythology as Rahu. Like, there's been different interpretations of Esoteric mythology, but when we use this naturalistic explanations, every time we interpret this eclipse or something like that, we actually see some kind of like uh, earth shadow on the moon and all that. But if this is actually true, what they say, like, you can see clear contradictions in the explanation, naturalistic explanation of thing. Is there like another dark celestial object causing the eclipse itself? Contrary to our popular opinion of what eclipse actually is.
On the plane, part of the wandering luminaries. This is a dark body luminary, though black in itself. This could be the cause for the Earth's eclipses, contrary to that heliocentric belief which tells us that it's the moon that's responsible for the phenomena. Rahu is one of the 9 major astronomical bodies, the Navag Rahu, in Indian texts. Rahu is also mentioned in Buddhist, Hindu, and Jairin texts. It's also found in astrology, horoscopes. Hessonite is the gemstone of Rahu, and it's very beneficial to migrate the negative effects of Rahu, called He's Sun Night. Brilliant. Do you think Rahu, aka the Black Sun, could cause the eclipses and could then be accurately predicted like the others? This being during the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipses, you can see both the sun and moon in the sky at the same time. Recorded now in real-time footage.
Yeah, it's honestly the Selenian eclipse. Like, it's also known as the impossible eclipse. We'll talk about that too. Like, it is one of those eclipses that actually not, actually not, put inside our textbooks for obvious reasons. Like, no one even knows, but this Selenian eclipse actually exists. Like, it's a rare occurrence that during the time of this infamous rare eclipse, it's also known as impossible eclipse, as NASA scientists actually calls it, or like the eclipsed uh moon and the sun appears above the horizon at opposite directions, which is impossible if you're looking from like a natural lunar eclipse explanation, which indicates the eclipse was not caused by the shadow of the earth, like there's some kind of like a celestial object actually causing the lunar eclipse itself. So, like, it's kind of crazy. Like, if this is actually true, like how much information we've been lied to, like.
Can make these ecliptic calculations all based on past cycles and reoccurring phases. The ancient Babylonians, the Sumerians, the ancient Chinese, the Indians were all aware of the black sun could cause the effects of the eclipses. Why? Because they named a so-called god after it and called it Rahu. They've made many, many, many images of the black sun all throughout history. This paganism. Eclipses can be known and foretold only by carefully observing and noting all of their past occurrences. The tables that we use today for the sun and moon could never have been made just by mere calculation, apart from the tabulation of the motions of these mystical bodies in the past ages that have gone by. Even the Chaldeans at Babylon gave Alex the Great tablets of the eclipses for the next 1,993 years to follow. The Chinese have also predicted the ecliptic table till the year 4000 plus. Every shadow is formed by a real object. Is that right? The normal argument about eclipses is flawed because the sun and moon both have been visible during an eclipse. Plus, the fact that she's self-luminescent, from our very own Charles Johnson, refers to it as a dark body passing in front of the sun during the recorded time phase.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, it's so crazy. Like, people don't even critically analyze things we actually been taught. Like,
This drawing seems to suggest that a solar eclipse can be caused without the Sun-Moon-Earth alignment that would assumed typical of the solar eclipse. This would imply the possibility that a lunar eclipse may be caused by something other than a Sun-Earth-Moon alignment. Another dark body, perhaps? His drawing on the right suggests the possibility of some other body circulating in the cupola, the vault, the dome, the heaven. Grandfather Rowbotham's book, Earth is Not a Globe, states that during a solar eclipse, the sun goes completely black, and even though all of the sunlight is blocked out and the sky goes black, no one can detect the moon at all. It is just black, no moon. Of course, we should be able to see the moon as it is being bathed in brilliant earthshine. The sun should disappear, and we should see the stars in the place of the sun. We should see the moon, illuminated by the earthshine. But we don't see it. According to the helio-religion theory, a lunar eclipse occurs when the sun, earth, and the moon are in direct line. But it is on record as written fact since about the 15th century, over 50 eclipses have occurred while both the sun and moon have been visible above the horizon. Another interesting concept is the Orlando Ferguson's design of the world. I'm not a believer in this concept myself, but the picture is particularly interesting because there is a clear something that hides this very strange two suns and a moon concept. Let's look at it. Very interesting, folks. Fantastic. Apparently way back as well, on Friday the 18th of May in 1683, two suns rose over Glasgow, according to Robert Law account of it. Rahu, they say, has to be relatively close to us, about the same distance as we think the moon is, but it is completely black. It does not reflect light at all. Maybe it rises and falls from the direct magnetic apex north pole, as none of the light would be reflected back anyway. So we would see the sun simply blacked out in the sky on a full eclipse, which is what we see anyway. Respected astronomer Paul Cox claims that they don't normally let us see the second sun. NASA usually hides. It's normally hidden from view. NASA and other
whoa.
organizations, they usually hide that stuff away from us. They don't tell us the truth. Well, really, Paul, they certainly do not, do they? J.H. Lambert, in his Cosmological Letters, admits the existence of dark cosmological bodies of great size. Quotes, "We have now seen that the existence of dark bodies revolving around the luminous objects in the firmament has been admitted by practical observers from the earliest ages. That in our day, such as a massive evidence has accumulated on the subject, that astronomers are compelled to admit that not only are dark bodies, while occasionally obscure the luminous stars when in conjunction, but that cosmological bodies of large size exist, and that one at least is attracted as a satellite to the Earth." It is this dark or non-luminous satellite which, when in conjunction or in line with the moon as an observer on Earth, is the immediate cause of the lunar eclipse. They know, friends, what's out there. The first photograph of Rahu was July the 28th, 1851. So these are some very, very good understandings on that assumption that the helioastronomers stating that the solar eclipses are caused by the moon coming in between the Earth and Sun can certainly be questioned, friends. Not only because Rahu may be the actual ultimate cause for it, but because if that was the case, we would be able to see the moon during the full eclipse of the Sun, as it would be bathed in quite bright earthshine. What would be a new moon anyway? Come on, people. The eclipse of the moon is not caused by the shadow of the Earth, or by the Earth obstructing the light of the Sun. The moon has its own light, and it could even be the moon herself that turns her dark side to us. The dark side of the moon. We may never know this. We're not supposed to really know some of the stuff anyway. This is not written. Now, the lumen naturae, which is the light of darkness itself, is the luminosity within the darkness that recognizes itself as it illuminates by its own darkness. Not the same light from the sun, moon, or stars. The lumen naturae, which is called the light of darkness, illuminates its own darkness. And this light the darkness comprehends therefore turns blackness into brightness. And I would be very wary of anybody who was actually born under the path of the eclipse. The knowledge of a dark luminary is there in the vault of heaven. We can know all of this, or we can't know all of this by our just perspective of the earth using our imperfect senses, what is actually happening way out there. But rest assured, friends, the powers that be will certainly try and hide everything they can about it with never a straight answer. So rest assured, my friends, of this creation story
Yeah. I don't know why they try to hide information like this. Possibly because, they want us to believe we are in some spinning ball, like hurtling across, like endless miles in space itself. But we are like divine beings and specialized creatures. And we human beings are actually special. Like, that's one of the most reasons they actually try to hide it. Like, the nature of the world itself, maybe.
2023, many written and now video accounts of eclipses. It seems to be a dark luminary, invisible most of the time and currently unknown or hidden to the general population, which hides in the shadow of the moon or somehow rises and falls from the only apex monopole on the plane. Or maybe it's the dark side of the moon. Still so much that we don't know, empirically of course. However, to the pagan population, it's known as Rahu. And no, they are not sundogs or halos, folks. Remember the American basketball team, too, Phoenix Suns. Well, their team logo changed to black in 2013 from blue to black. Brilliant. Go on, the Suns, also called the Matrix, aren't they? You can't make this stuff up. I believe we can next see Rahu on her moon day, balancing the scales on the 8th day of Libra in 2024. I will leave the National Academy of Space Actors countdown for it below. Ever wonder why they don't actually want you to look at it, really? You may figure it all out, and they do not want that to happen anytime soon. It'll spoil the holographic alien surprise.
Whoa. Holographic alien surprise, bro.
Then I behold all the work of Yahweh, that a man cannot find out all the work that has been done under the sun, because through a man's labour to seek it out, yet he shall not find it. Yea, farther, through a wise man think to know it, yet shall he not be able to find it. Ecclesiastes 8:17. Yahweh bless you all, and much love. I will see you in the next upload.
Yeah, I also want to show this video about some alleged Freemason actually, that shows the workings of the Black Sun, or supposed so-called Rahu.
Beginning of the video, he shows a CD or a disc. He immediately draws the geometric shape of an oblate spheroid.
Yo, I've been searching this video for a lot of time. I couldn't find it, but I found it somehow. And this footage has been deleted out many times.
We can see how he separates the oblate spheroid with a disc that has a hole in the center. Then, below he draws a circle with a swastika inside and immediately paints it completely black.
Did he have to draw the swastika, or like he couldn't just like? Bro could have just drawn the black sun. Why do you have to draw the swastika? Like, bro could have just drawn the black sun. Like,
From this black circle rays come out and 3 rays pass through the hole in the center. Below he writes, still. One of the possible meanings of this black circle may be the black sun.
the infamous Nazi symbol, like,
He draws reliefs on the edge of the hole and writes North Pole. And above this hole inside what would be the celestial vault he draws a star, the polar star or Polaris.
yep.
He marks 2 points and connects them in a circle and writes, equator. He draws 2 lines that go down from the polar star to the 2 points. The lines form a triangle. He highlights 2 of the rays coming out of the black sun and also forms a triangle, but vice versa. And he writes, as above so below. It's one of the 7 principles of Hermes Trismegistus. It appears on the emerald tablet and then in the Kabbalion.
Yes, Hermes Trismegistus, like Emerald Tablets, like, that's what the phrase "as above, so below" comes from, like. This is the nature of the world itself.
He erases the intersections and draws the sun and moon.
And I believe all this knowledge is supposed to be exposed to Freemasons in general. Like, I don't know about now. Like, now it seems like every 33-degree Mason is a fucking idiot. Like, but like maybe during couple of 1990s, like, this is information that have been exposed. 33-degree Freemasons is supposed to be exposed to.
And he makes a gesture of rotation. He draws 2 arrows to show the distance of the moon and the sun. Both are 3,300 miles or 5,310 kilometers away. Then he measures the diameter of the sun and moon.
Yeah, it shows the localized sun and moon, like, they're not like sun is not 93 million miles away. So that's what it shows, like, according to the FP theology, FE cosmology. Sorry.
the same with a diameter of 32 miles or 51 kilometers.
From a geocentric perspective.
He draws continents on the surface and on the other side as well. He points both sides and writes, same. Below he writes Summerland.
Summerland? Damn.
He draws rays coming out of the black sun and writes, Northern Lights.
Yo, that just makes a lot of sense. Like we given this vague explanation what Northern Lights actually are, like, but we don't know actually what they actually fucking are, like.
The center of the drawing is equal to the Mason symbol, which is a square and a compass.
Yep, this is amazing simple. Like, so that's where the symbolism comes from. Like, that's crazy. Bro, like, it's all like, you know, it's all in there. If you actually want to look into it, you can actually find this information.
He points out the ray coming out of the black sun toward the moon and then he erases the face of the moon.
Whoa, what the fuck?
Then he erases the face of the moon. He makes signs explaining that the sun doesn't light up the moon. Who does it is the black sun.
Yeah, this is crazy. You can see throughout antiquity they believe in the geocentric model till, till the advent of, NASA, suppose it seems. Bro, what is this music? This goofy music, bro, come on. Throughout antiquity across different mythologies, it's the same, the geocentric model, like, are they right, or with our own, like, understanding, are we right, like, in today's time, like. So you're telling me all those mythologies of antiquity got it wrong, like, we're the one who actually got it correct? It's crazy, like, it's all just a satanic conspiracy. Okay, what else? Oh, I also want to show the Vibes of Cosmos thing. Okay, let's just take a look at this video.
I'm going to call this one the Black Sun or the Veil or basically the Abyss. Okay, guys, bottomless pit or whatever. Guys, if you've been paying attention, you see a lot of this concept of, say, it's either the swastika or the, where is it? It's the Black Sun. Okay, guys, this logo, and you see this, you're seeing this everywhere today, especially with like the war in Ukraine and all that. There's one at the looks like the SS Heinrich Himmler. They had that on the floor in one of their temples. I mean, it's just straight paganism, right? I think that's pretty obvious. But the question is what does it represent? And, you know, of course, if you're...
Yep, that's the question. That's $1 million question.
Like I said, if you're watching the news, they're putting this symbol everywhere right now in your face. You know, there it is at the, you know, at the flag. So...
Yo, have you seen the video when, like, these Ukrainian soldiers with this symbol has been doing some kind of like a black magic with mixing like blood and on the fucking sand and shit? Like, that's a video for another day. I'll show you guys.
You've got this concept here where a lot of basically the black sun, sure, you could say some people think it's a mysterious orb that you can't see, and that's what really causes the solar eclipse.
Bingo.
Or Saturn is known as the night sun, and obviously that's got the cube at the North Pole, right? So like the Saturn cults, right? So let's see. I mean, that could be Islam. I mean, it's you see the Saturn cults everywhere, right, guys? So, and like I said, that's it.
Yep, the black cube, the satanic cult, you know, just Islam when they're doing circles around the black cube. That's kind of weird, like. And this black cube symbolism, the satanic symbolism, like, it's actually like present out throughout everywhere, like
the North Pole of Saturn. But there's different theories of what this actually is, because I mean, obviously what is the bottomless pit, and that would be the locust plague, right? So I mean, that's going to be the Islam during back in the day, during the Dark Ages. That would have been, you know, the fifth trumpet, right? So that would be the bottomless pit. So the question is this going back to that, is it okay? So is it Saturn cult? Or the cube? And I mean, even InfoWars has the cube logo, right? I mean,
what's up with
I've
that?
talked about that plenty in my other videos. But, or is it the concept of a upside down hollow earth, and that's actually projecting like the sun, right? And that'd be the North Pole, Polaris, kind of like a CD. There's many theories on like what actually this is talking about, okay, guys? Because that gets into like the whole concept of like, say, Mount Meru, and that's at the North Pole, right? It's the landmass. Of course, I have this drawn. You've seen my picture. It's kind of the same thing. It's got the 4 rivers. Of course, this is Jerusalem, but Jerusalem is just symbolic of of Eden, I should say, right, guys? So, you know, on like obviously on all these maps, for example, you'd see this concept of like, say, and this is from a book no longer.
Bro, this dude's locked in.
On the map, they've always got the land masses at the North Pole, right, guys? And like there it is right there. And then they started to delete these land masses as we go further on in, you know, in history, right? So the concept is this Thule, or, you know, what the Aryans were looking for, whatever.
Thule, Hyperborea, Summerland. Maybe not alternate pocket dimension. Like, there's a lot of mysteries and conspiracies surrounding it.
Whatever, New Jerusalem, if you will, because remember, guys, during the Dark Ages, they went around and they named everywhere they went with a cornerstone, and they laid the cornerstone for a city called the New Jerusalem. So basically, they went around. One, they're looking for gold. 2, they're going around laying cornerstones everywhere and calling places New Jerusalem. That's why there's a lot of Salems, right? That's just Salem is Jerusalem, right? So you see this every time in history, like I've said, is how you always see this concept of the eastern wind come, okay, guys? And that gets into basically the swastika symbol, or, I mean, because obviously it's an Eastern mysticism logo, right? The swastika.
Yeah, the Azov Battalion. Those are the guys doing some kind of like a ritual with blood and fucking dirt.
So, and that gets into, well, what is it? And it's the North Pole, and it's the, or Polaris, and then you have the Little Dipper, or the bear, and then the Big Dipper, or the Big Bear, and it creates that symbol, right, guys? So that's the North Pole. You see that? They're all rotating around the North Pole star. And then if you take the black sun, or even this is the Jesuit logo, guys. It's just a variation of the Jesuit logo. it's the 12, and so you just elongate this same symbol and it becomes the 12. So it's 3 months or 3 zodiacs per quarter, and it becomes obviously the 12 zodiacs or the 12 months. And of course, Jericho means moon or month, right, guys? So, and then this is obviously the 4 rivers in Eden, where it talks about in the Bible, or the 4 angels on the 4 corners. The 4 corners are most likely at the North Pole, guys. Okay, guys? So now we're starting to understand that this swastika, or the black sun, or the Saturn cult, or the cube, is this concept of the tables turning, or the fifth plague, or the abyss, guys. So is it a abyss, literal inner earth, like everything's being flipped, like aka tables turn, or is it just symbolic? I tend to lean toward that it's actually symbolic, but there probably is a landmass that they're not telling us about at the North Pole, and that's what's causing the green lights, the northern lights, right, guys? And of course, that would be the green horse, the North horse. They translate it as pale, but it's really a green horse, the 4th horse. In Revelation. Watch my other videos on that. So this question is this is the location of probably where Eden actually was. And of course, during the Bible, Jerusalem was the center of the world. So that was symbolic of the new Eden, right, guys? So like that's kind of how I have this right here, right? So the concept is during the fall, they were expelled out of the Garden of Eden, right? So the concept of the Bible is getting back into Eden, and that's all of the world religions, right? And certain variations of it. So now we're starting to understand that Eden is this concept of this cornerstone, guys. Okay, guys? So the cornerstone is a cube, right? So the most holy, or the Holy of Holies, is also a cube, right, guys? So, obviously, look at the dimensions. You've got 2 cubes here and 1 cube here. And this is actually Eden, or where the Day of Atonement or the Ark of the Covenant is, right, guys? So now we're starting, and there's veils that separate these chambers, right, guys? So that gets into the New Jerusalem coming down out of heaven, which is also a cube, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And that's in Revelation 21 here, okay, guys? So it's a cube coming down, and probably that took me to a high mountain, was probably be that same mountain concept, right, guys? So now we can see that this cube is the New Jerusalem, or Eden, right, guys? And of course, if you look at everywhere in the Bible, all these women have veils. So a bride wears a veil, and the New Jerusalem, aka the cube, is a woman and a veil. You see that, guys? So they're synonymous. So this is, of course, you want to become a woman and marry the Son of Man, Yeshua. That's what's going on. You see what I'm saying? So this is the veil of, like, say, the Bedouin tribes people, right, guys? So now you're starting to understand that it's all about the cube, the New Jerusalem, Eden, or the sides of the north, or the veil and the marriage and the cube, right, guys? You see how that's starting to all connect now? So now we're going to start to understand that this cube concept is, of course, like I've said a million times, it's this whole sanctuary is a model of going back to Eden. And these represent the cherubs that were on the east side when they were kicked out of the Garden of Eden, right? And the 4 pillars are probably the 4 cherubs, or the 4 cardinal directions, or the 4 rivers, okay, or the 4 cardinal directions, okay, guys? So now let's look at what's going on with a lot of these. Watch my last video on that Tartarian conspiracy, where I talked about this east wind, because that would be Eastern mysticism, or the true sealing, which comes out of the east. Remember how the angel rises from the four horns of the golden altar. Okay, what do you think that is? It's the same concept, right? The 4 cherubs, right? And he's got the seal coming out of the east, right? So the devil's going to counterfeit that with this Eastern mysticism. That's when the Euphrates dries up, okay? Watch my other video on that. But on these old maps, you'll see that they put on the east side either the sign of the Knights of Malta or the cross, and that's just the same as it's just the swastika. You see what I'm saying? So every time the phoenix blows itself up, you see this concept of the swastika come out, and this is known as the bottomless pit, guys. You see what I'm saying? So And that would just be straight, this is just King of the South, or just straight paganism. Okay, guys? So now we're starting to understand that, and this is a Bank of America mural. You can see the cube, the woman or whoever this is, trapped in a cube with a black sun. So there's very much so a connection with a cube and the black sun, or again, Saturn, or this, again, this whole concept. And that's the sand of the sea, or Gog and Magog. Again, watch my other videos on that. Okay, guys? So I got plenty of other notes here that you can read. It's hard to say everything in one breath per se. But anyway, so this is known as the tables turning, or the bottomless pit opening up. Again, is it a literal bottomless pit? Who knows? I think it's spiritual. But that's the King of the South, aka Abaddon. And of course, it says it here that says Abaddon is Greek. Why do you think it's referencing Greek right there? That's Greek mythology. This is the same thing as Greek mythos, which is just straight paganism, right? Versus the King of the North, which is just Catholicism. So anyway, so now you're starting to understand this is like the Boaz is King of the South. That's the fake feminine, whether it's Islam, Cube of Mecca, whatever. So this black cube is their version of the fake feminine. You see what I'm saying? So that's
Oh, now I see. Like, it's always an inversion on God's principles. Like, they always want to like get a counterfeit. They want to invert shit and make a counterfeit copy of certain things and concepts of the divine itself.
the devil's counterfeit. Okay, guys? So now in Revelation, it's all about you've got the harlot riding the dragon, right? So what they're doing is the concept of the veil, and say like the veil of the Bedouin, or the women in the Bible, right? Or the bride is, the concept is, this is as old as time. It's what the book of Revelation's about. It's about the dragon slayer, guys. This is either the knight in shining armor, or just the basis of every fairy tale that ever existed, right? That's what the book of Revelation is. So basically, the concept of this veil is the in the game of, let's say, love, is the man is supposed to pursue the woman, okay? And that's the veil, okay? So all these douchebags in high school, for example, and like the whores in high school back in the day, think about it, is they gave themselves away without putting in the work. That is synonymous with jumping over the veil, guys. Again, it's the two pillars of Jack and Boaz with that false stairway. You see what I'm saying? So these are like the douchebags in high school going around sleeping around everywhere, okay? The tool bags, right? So they're getting in.
I don't know who this dude is, but this dude has pretty good analogies.
Into the sanctuary without putting in the work. You see what I'm saying? So they're cheating, if you will. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same concept, trying to get into the most holy. It's their character, guys. It's these douchebags in high school trying to get into the most holy, trying to remove the veil without putting in the work, and that's what's going on. So that's why they're becoming male and marrying the harlot or the whore. You see how that, or the black cube. Okay, you see, or the fake feminine. You see how that is? Again,
that's just every modern marriage itself. Like, it's not something like it's not something like exclusive, to pious people. Like, that's just every modern marriage itself. You're not gonna marry a whore whatsoever.
And that would be Islam. So it's all about this. In paganism, it's all about the divine female and the divine masculine, right? And they merge the two, and that's Esau's stairway into heaven, right? So basically, like I said, is they're removing this veil without putting in the work. They're trying to, because this whole thing is an analogy of marrying the bride's wife, or the bride, the bride's husband and the lamb's wife, the bride. It's just, this whole thing is marriage is a symbol, right, guys? That's what this whole process is. It's as old as time itself. So they're trying to get into the most holy without putting in the work, and that's what's known as jumping over the fence. Whoever jumps over the fence is a thief and the robber, who doesn't go in through the sheep gate, Yeshua says, right? So that's what's really going on with this whole black cube cult. And basically, like I said, is they're becoming male. That's why you see the obelisk. That's probably also on the North Pole, that could be the magnetic mountain. Again, they put that at the Vatican. It's the same concept. You've got the four directions, the four horns, right? But my point is, they're becoming male. That's Sodom and Gomorrah, and they're marrying the harlot. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So that's where this concept of the black cube comes from. Hope you guys are starting to understand. So that's the sons of Esau, the red shield of Rome, versus the sons of Jacob become female. You see, and then they become the bride that becomes the cube, I should say, as Revelation states, descending out of heaven. You see what I'm saying? So they get this veil. They put in the work, I should say, and that's why they wear basically that's why you see in the New Testament, the whole dressing modestly thing. You see what I'm saying? So that's where that comes from. But then, I mean, I don't think I need to explain that anymore. But anyway, that's what's going on with this whole cube concept. I'll probably have to do another part of that.
Yeah, we're gonna put a white cosmos black sun explanation. Like this is a explanation about the phases of moons and shit, and what the black sun actually does. It'll get complicated, but this is conspiracy and speculation. Like it's not like come from like
Black sun.
I do not know about the moon map theory. Like the patterns on moon itself like directly corresponds to the continents and Earth itself. There's a huge proportionate amount of people actually believe in this, but like I don't want to put that false information out there and think this is like the actual truth of the world itself.
Below the surface of the Earth, there is the black sun that is responsible for the creation of sun and moon. Polar lights are from the black sun below and come from a big hole that there is on the magnetic north in Hyperborea.
Hold on, there's always these slaps. Yeah, what even is this? Oh, these are northern lights. Supposedly these northern lights are like emanations from the black sun itself.
Black sun is moving below in a coil motion, creating an electromagnetic field with direction from below to above. Its motion center is
Yeah, it gets super complicated, but like maybe the world is much more complicated than it actually
magnetic
is.
north. Polaris is fixed and is up from the magnetic north. On the top of the ceiling of our toroidal field, black sun's electromagnetic field creates the stars as reflections of the great depths and energy spots of Earth. The diameter of black sun's motion is changing, a fact that makes all the electromagnetic field dynamic. On our toroidal ceiling, at the place where Polaris happens, there is a reverse direction refraction of the cosmic energy that comes from the black sun. This refraction separates the cosmic energy to energy plus that creates the sun and to minus that creates the moon below where the refracted energies are focusing.
Bruh.
The plus refraction of the cosmic energy works like a limit to the minus refraction when these refractions are close. Because of this, we have the phases of the moon. That's why there is a relation between the constellation difference between the sun and moon and the moon's phases. When the conical shape refraction that creates the sun plus is on the same constellation as the refraction that creates the moon minus, the first one neutralizes the second. In this way we have the new moon. Because of the dynamic of the refraction, every day there is a different position between these two conical shape refractions, and in this way we have the moon's phases. When these refractions are opposite, there is no neutralization of the moon's conical refraction from the sun's one, so only in this case we have the full moon. As the sun's refraction is getting closer again, we have the rest of the moon's phases till the new moon.
Hold on, what?
As the sun's refraction is getting closer from the sun's one, so only in this case we have the full moon. As the sun's refraction is getting closer again, we have the rest of the moon's phases till the new moon. When the angle of incidence of the black sun below is big, the sun and moon are very close. When they are at the same constellation, we have the new moon. In this case, the conical refraction of the sun completely neutralizes the moon's one. As the angle of the incidence is getting smaller, we have the first quarter of the moon. In this case, the sun's conical refraction hides the half of the moon's refraction from left if we are northern the moon's path, or right if we are southern when the axis of moon's phases is vertical to the horizon. When the angle of incidence is the smallest, we have the full moon. In this case, the two refractions are opposite and do not affect each other. Finally, when the angle of incidence is getting bigger, we have the third quarter, and in this case, the sun's conical refraction hides the right half of moon's refraction when the axis of phases is vertical to the horizon, when we are northern the moon's path, or the left if we are southern.
Yo, that's crazy. Bro, this is true, but I'm losing my fucking mind over here. Like, what the fuck? Guys, you can also watch this video on Vibes of Cosmos on the Black Sun. It's crazy. Like, the amount of they make amazing videos. The amount of information I actually have about the geocentric model and how it actually works.
Hello friends, how are you? I'm Esoteric, and today I'm going to talk about the Black Sun, also known as Schwarze Sonne or Sonnenrahn. This isn't a video about the occult and more exoteric explanations around this symbol. This is simply a short video explaining the historical background of this symbol, which is why I know certain people, or rather, certain people belonging to specific groups won't like the content of this video. But you can wave your arms and protest all you want and manifest all that hatred. It won't change the historical truth. I've been getting this question quite often for the past 2 years or so. What's the meaning of the black sun symbol? I've been dreading to answer this question because a lot of people are not going to like it, especially those who believe in the black sun symbol as an ancient pagan symbol. For those interested in the occult, now that's something else entirely. But we often hear that the black sun symbol is an ancient Indo-European symbol, or a prehistoric representation of the sun wheel, and that this sun wheel is one of a number of ancient European symbols appropriated by the Nazis. Well, it's not. This specific configuration did not exist before the 20th century. There are many representations of the sun wheel, especially during the Bronze Age, but this configuration of the black sun is not ancient. It's a 20th century invention following certain similarities to ancient sun wheel representations. Because the sun, the black sun, is a representation of a solar symbol. But historically speaking, this configuration is a creation from the 20th century, and that's it. There were several requests to make a video about the black sun, and I have refused to make it because it touches directly on politics. And I prefer to remain neutral in those terms, because I'm trying to teach history and archaeology in a way that helps people to think for themselves and finding the answers to their questions by themselves. I'm not trying to teach facts so you can accept them as the only possible truth. I'm trying to teach in how to have free thinking, doubt everything, question everything. But if we are going to talk about the black sun symbol, we must look at the historical and archaeological facts. That's exactly why I dread to answer questions like this, because a lot of people prefer to accept a sweet lie rather than facing the harsh truth. And when people simply do not accept facts, they deny them with such fervor that they end up turning against the people who are trying to show them the truth or trying to help them. No one is born with the knowledge of everything, so we are here to learn. Now, whatever you wish to do with the knowledge that is presented to us, it's up to us and us alone. Now, Sonnenrand, or Schwarze Sonne, commonly known as the Black Sun, is a symbol that gained prominence during the Nazi period of Germany and post-Nazi period in neo-Nazi contexts. The symbol in question has more meaning today than it ever did during Nazi Germany, because we simply do not actually know what this symbol stood for. Occult explanations are something else entirely. Some interpretations are pure rubbish, and others are very plausible interpretations. But just because they are plausible doesn't mean they are the truth. The first time this symbol appears in history is in the famous Divesborg castle, which is a castle from the early 17th century. However, archaeologically speaking, the black sun symbol appears in the castle during the 20th century, during the 1930s and 1940s renovations and remodulations of the structure of the castle conducted by the Nazis and Heinrich Himmler himself. To be more precise, the symbol appears in the former SS General's Hall, Übergruppen Führersei. This is highly convenient. The symbol is made of 12 radial so-called Sieg runes, a Nazi recreation of the S rune Suelo. The SS initials are two S runes. Suelo literally means sun. It's a rune that represents the rays of the sun, light, hope, guidance, goal setting, and success. It's directly connected to the sun wheel symbol, as a symbol of power and perseverance. However, this is the meaning of the rune Suelo.
Yeah, but you cannot deny it doesn't have any esoteric meaning or some kind of hidden esoteric significance to why they actually use the symbols in the first place.
And we can't say with certainty that the black sun symbol represents this. No one knows what the symbol represented to the Nazis. You have to take in mind that the black sun clearly has pagan symbols, old ancient symbols of power, but black sun as a whole isn't a pagan symbol. It's a new symbol created by the Nazis. Sieg runes are runes of victory, and this concept of victory was added to the Suelo rune because of the Nazis. Suelo might not have had anything to do with victory, while to the Nazis the Sieg runes, which are other runes, was clearly a symbol for victory. So the black sun might have meant to the Nazis a symbol of victory represented 12 times. In occult, or cultural magical symbology terms, the number 12 has had a significant meaning for many centuries in various cultures throughout the world. The number 12 has represented many different deities or things. For instance, for many centuries, with the consolidation of Renaissance magical practices and the increasing occult interpretations greatly based on the Kabbalah, the Olympian gods and the Aesir from the Norse mythology have been represented as 12 gods only. It is the most recurring common number used in the Bible and also used in our society today to represent everything that is either whole or complete. But I'm not here to talk about the occult aspects of the number 12. Let's stay for another time. Turning back to the black sun symbol, as I've said, we don't know what the symbol really meant to the Nazis. However, the symbol has historically remained prominent in neo-Nazi occult circles. It's frequently used more generally by neo-Nazi far-right white nationalists. This symbol started to be used by some Satanists as well, which might mean that the black sun symbol in more contemporary times gained an association with the phenomenon of the eclipse, which in mythology has been connected with the upcoming end of the world and or with a drastic change approaching. So, could this symbol to the Nazis be part of the pseudo-cultist activities of the political elite of Nazi Germany period and the SS? It might have had some significance, possibly something connected to Germanic Norse mythology in the accounts of the wolf Fenris or Fenrir, which is said to swallow the sun. His children, being wolves in some accounts, are the ones to devour the sun, and Fenrir, after being released at the beginning of the
it draws parallel to the Rahu mythology from Hindu mythology, like
wolf age, a prelude to Ragnarok, causing the sky to darken, and the end of light and the beginning of an age of darkness, aggression, and chaos. The black sun might have been a symbol to mark a drastic and terminal change. This symbol is clearly a mixture between Germanic pagan symbols, and whoever created it was also inspired by the symbols of the sun wheel as a symbol of power, just like the swastika itself, a stylized representation of the sun. But we can't say what this symbol truly meant. We can't say that this is an ancient pagan symbol. It has ancient pagan symbols in it, more or less, ancient pagan connotations, and clearly connected to the symbolism of the sun. But the symbol itself, this configuration, wasn't known in pagan times. This is a contemporary creation of the 20th century. But I cannot help to think that this symbol, in artistic terms, might be an inspiration from, and has a lot of similarities with, the decorative Merovingian discs dating from the early medieval period. The Merovingian dynasty was a very important Frankish dynasty that ruled for over 300 years during the Middle Ages. They had great influence in the ancient Roman territories of Germania, and subsequently enlarged their territory to more regions of Germania. A dynasty ruling for more than 3 centuries certainly left a great amount of artistic influence, and certainly influence in religious terms. That is something to think about. Right, my dear friends, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Short but more or less straight.
yeah. Where's the Selenian eclipse video? Like, oh yeah, this is the one. Like, honestly, like, also I want to show you like this one. Yeah, that's also fucking weird, like, straight up.
How would you explain this? There's something suspicious with this footage. So you think the moon is a solid object, right? A rock. Here we've got a problem now. If put this moon away, what's going to happen here with the light? The light here of the sun. You can see the light of the sun. Although the moon should be a solid object, right? So how would you explain this? Right? You can see here where I put this marker and when I put the sticker away, take a look what's going to happen now. Here, you see the light of the sun, but the moon is in front of the sun. So this light
Very weird. Always indicates some kind of like a different celestial object that's, you know, corresponding to the ancient mythologies of the Black Sun or the Rahu and stuff. Like, it clearly indicates that the mainstream narrative is actually hiding something. Information about a celestial object actually causing this eclipse in the first place.
should not be visible if the moon is a solid object, right? Moon comes in, but you can see the whole light of the sun. The whole light of the sun. So this black object here.
Where's the one that explained the Selenium lunar eclipse? Yeah, this is the one.
With all the flat earth videos I've been making, I get the same question over and over again about lunar eclipses. How's...
Bro, the reason why I don't talk about FPs, like, you do are always like shadow bans your shit and shit, like, bro, like, that's why, like, I stay away from this topic, like.
a lunar eclipse possible on a flat earth? I covered this topic before on my previous channel, but I want to go into a little bit more detail with this one. First off, let's take a look at the phony baloney ball earth, and this is a supposed lunar eclipse with this model. As you can see, the top portion of the moon should be illuminated and the bottom portion should be darkened. Just another image just representing the supposed orbit of the moon around the so-called ball earth. Now, take a look here. Again, the top portion should be illuminated, the bottom portion darkened. At this angle, this perspective, again, the bottom portion should be darkened, the top should be illuminated. Now let's look at this video. Actually, I have two videos that I want to show recorded the same day from two separate locations, two different states. One from New Mexico and another from Illinois. First off, let's take a look at the footage right here from just north of Santa Fe, New Mexico, looking towards Los Alamos. For a better perspective, let's take a look here at the map. Again, just for reference, for Santa Fe, so again, just north, so it's the angle you're looking at right here. And as you can see, the upload date was December 10th, 2011. Okay, let's take a look at the actual footage itself. Start from the very start, from the very beginning. Talks about phenomena. Let me back.
Yeah. Under, like, naturalistic standards of, like, mainstream standards of NASA, like, it would be impossible to have an eclipse moon and the sun above the horizon at the same time. And that's why the reason they call the Selenium eclipse the impossible eclipse in the first place. And also, like, why isn't, like, Selenium eclipse and all this shit, like, taught in school textbooks? Like, why isn't that it's actually taught in textbooks? Because they don't want you to know about that shit. Like, that's when, like, I found out, like, a lot of fucking shit in our textbooks ain't fucking shit, bro. Like, it's all fucking false fucking shit. Like, they'll never teach you about this in fucking school, about the Selenium eclipse. They'll teach you about some different fucking eclipse and how the eclipse is formed, but rightfully so, because it is rightfully known as the impossible eclipse. And the counter, let's just, you can see actually,
let me pause here. Talks about the phenomenon of this eclipse. It's called the Selenium event. Now let's take a look. Go to this part right here. Now take a look at this time lapse of this moon, where both the sun, again, this is the sunrise. The sun and the moon are both above the horizon. Look at the top portion of the moon. It's darkened. Again, going back, put pause here for a second. Going back to this model. Top portion should be illuminated, of course, and the bottom portion darkened. And you're not getting that. You're getting the exact opposite. Okay? Play this again. You understand what's taking place here. So this definitely proves this is not caused by the so-called ball Earth. See this? It's clear as day. For all those people saying the lunar eclipse debunks the flat Earth.
Wait,
Listen,
let's
okay?
see one.
Play this again. You understand what's taking place here. So this definitely proves this is not caused by the so-called ball Earth. Moon is darkened. Again, going back, put pause here for a second. Going back to this model. Top portion should be illuminated, of course, and the bottom portion darkened. And you're not getting that. You're getting the exact opposite. Okay? Play this again. You understand what's taking place here. So this definitely proves this is not caused by the so-called ball Earth. See
Yeah,
this?
if it's ball, we should have seen it from the bottom up, like, but that's not actually what's happening.
It's clear as day. For all those people saying the lunar eclipse debunks the flat Earth, you're completely wrong. I'm going to let this video play once again. Just look at all this footage and realize the most important aspect that this is during the sunrise. Okay? And there you go. Now, taking a look here, I showed this before with this guy here in Illinois. Okay, take a look at this footage once again. Basically the same exact thing. Like I said, the same exact day. And they get the same exact results.
6:30 in the morning. It's about 18 degrees out here, and we're standing on top of Cahokia Mounds, just east of St. Louis. Behind me is a...
You know the explanation that, you know, the mainstream science gives us why this impossible eclipse has to happen? Like, it's due to some kind of, like, a refraction and shit. Look, but how does that even happen? How does fucking, like, the moon when fucking shit refract itself? Like, but this phenomenon doesn't even actually occur in, like ever, but only this fucking rare incident, which clearly says, you know, something fishy going around in their own explanation itself. Like, refraction is a cop-out answer for, like, a lot of this heliocentric model, you know, critical claims of heliocentric model. Like, when you critically attack the positions of the heliocentric model, a lot of these globe earthers would cop out just by saying refraction and gravity, like, but they never actually offer, like, a clear explanation of certain things.
full moon, which will soon be going into a full lunar eclipse as it sets, kind of a rare experience, while at the same time behind us, the sun is already beginning to rise. So it's going to be a very interesting and beautiful experience. So it's about 6:55, and as you can see, we're getting a little bit brighter out here. You can see the shadow creeping across the moon. It's a little hard to see, I'm sure, in the camera, but here you can see nice and clearly. It's about a third of the way covered. The moon is starting to turn nice and orange. Right shoulder, you can see downtown St. Louis in the nice early morning sun, which is getting very bright. The eastern horizon behind us. It's practically day here yet. We still have the moon out. It's slowly eclipsing. And it's still full.
Yeah, the sun is already up above the horizon. Like, this is crazy.
Okay, so it's now about 7:04 a.m. and over my shoulder you probably cannot see anything, but through the stacks of the refinery back there, we can just barely make out a little bit of the moon left. It's about 2/3 the way covered with Earth shadow, and it's turning a sort of pale orange, pinkish color. But with the bright morning sun coming up, there's not much, not enough contrast to be able to see the moon there. We can still see it just a little bit. What I find very interesting is I was expecting the shadow to come upward across the moon as it would go down and it would pass into shadow, and actually it's going the other way around.
There you go. This is because the indoctrination from the school system. People just blindly accept and believe what the textbooks say. He's just trying to piece it all together. Again, trying to rationalize everything so it fits along with what science says, which is an absolute lie. Again, science book, the school books, the Freemasons that put it all together, it's all about duality, the exact opposite of what we're told. Everything is the exact opposite of the actual truth that we're taught in the school system. Nothing but lies.
Yep, 100% facts.
Around the Earth. It's moving farther up, even though the sun's light is actually coming from over there. It's actually coming underneath the Earth. So
No, it's not. The sun is not coming. The sunlight is not coming from underneath the Earth. Give me a break. Again, just trying to rationalize why it's not adding up to the science books.
if you imagine, the sun is here, the Earth is here, and the moon is back here. This light was coming under the Earth.
But how can that be? You just
Light is coming under the Earth? Bruh.
showed yourself the sun is above the horizon. So again, he makes absolutely no sense trying to explain this. Sad. It's very sad. People can't get off the lights. Instead of saying, you know what we were taught doesn't add up, doesn't make sense, what's going on here? They can't do it. Because then you're considered crazy. You can't go there. That's exactly what's taking place.
But the moon must be rotating around even though we're turning, so it looks like the moon is going down. It's kind of an optical illusion. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, an illusion.
So, the sun is scheduled to set at 7:08. I'm sorry.
The only illusion is...
Does that even look like an optical illusion, bro? Like, use your fucking eyes, bro. Like, people are so fucking brainwashed to the point that they can actually make an observation and can discern what is an optical illusion or not.
what you're taught in the school system. There you go once again. Top portion is darkened, and the bottom portion is illuminated. And with this video clip, again from New Mexico, there's no narration for this video. Can't explain this. Science cannot explain this. Again, let's take a look here at what space.com has to say about this occurring. Space.com's website. Scroll down. See what it says here. It's interesting. Skywatchers should attempt to see.
Yeah, obviously I think it's gonna take a refraction and shit.
The solar eclipse of the moon and the rising sun simultaneously. The little used name for this effect is called selenium, a phenomenon that a celestial geometry says cannot happen. You know, so there you go.
They even say it's impossible eclipse.
Cannot happen. Why can it happen? Of course, because we don't live on a ball Earth. Now, taking a look at all these images provided by NASA over the years of the supposed ball Earth. Of course, I've covered this many times. None of this adds up. With 2012 in North America, the United States. Look how large it looks, how big it looks in relation to the other so-called ball Earths. So what I'm getting at is this. For all those that try to debunk the flat Earth, before you even try to debunk the flat Earth, prove your ball Earth. And you can't, because all NASA has ever given us, again, is nothing but fakery. This is the foundation of your belief, and your foundation is crumbling when this is all you can provide. Complete joke, complete insult when you believe this is, this is legitimate or this is real evidence or proof of anything. So once again, before you even start a debate on the flat Earth versus ball Earth, you got to prove your ball Earth. Till then, you have no debate.
Yeah, every time like someone says it's a globe, they always presuppose your position, but they haven't even provided any source of globe evidence. Like every time they're always just assuming and presupposing their positions itself. Like they will never provide an actual, dare I say, evidence for their fucking claim. They say it's always an appeal to authority. They always say someone actually did it, so that's why we don't have to verify it. But when you critically analyze every single, heliocentric position, it is as retarded as it actually sounds.
Just take a look at these images of the moon during the day. Obviously, the moon is not in deep space.
And there's actually footage of you can see actually stars through the moon itself. Even Venus, we can actually see Venus through this moon itself. That's even crazy.
The moon was in deep space, this wouldn't happen.
Always the globe excuse will be it's refraction. Refraction is the ultimate savior and a cop out for these kinds of people. Bruh.
And you wouldn't see the moon during the daytime. Clearly within Earth's so-called atmosphere. How clear can it be? If you still believe in the lies of science, stuck on stupid, not be able to see with your own eyes that again, there's no way the supposed moon is 238,000 miles away. And you can see the blue on the moon within. Let's take a look at this image here. You can see the dark spots on the moon, the dark areas on the moon, I should say. And during the day, you see the blue. They're just images, static images, but let's take a look at this footage as I shown before. Take a look at what's going on here. You can clearly see, once again, this is going to prove without a shadow of a doubt, we live on a flat Earth under a dome. As I've shown before, I'm going to get a little bit of a close-up of this footage once again from this P900 digital camera. Let's fast forward a little bit here. Again, you can see the transparency right through the moon. It's the blue sky you're seeing behind the moon without a shadow of a doubt. Move up a little bit more here, and there you go. Okay, you want to explain this for all those that believe that the moon is 238,000 miles away? See what you're looking at here? The moon is semi-transparent. But again, going back to this image, see the dark areas. You're looking at the dark sky through the moon, just as I showed here, the blue sky through the moon. 100%, without a shadow of a doubt. This proves the
Maybe just video for another day. Okay, I'll actually show you. Like, you can actually see a star through the moon.
flat Earth. And once again, everything is within the firmament. Now, people talk. I should mention this as well. I mentioned this before. I get this question asked almost daily. What about meteorites that fall to Earth? Understand, everything again is within the dome, within the firmament. And that's falling down, as it states in the Bible. Stars fall to the Earth, and this is what basically happens. Everything goes through the dome. Waters above, like the Bible states. Very simple. Once again, once you understand this simple image right here, will prove without a shadow of a doubt that the moon is not 238,000 miles away. It's definitely within the so-called atmosphere. Again, this moon itself, during the daytime, proves we live on a flat Earth within the firmament. And also, like I stated in my previous video, what's the deal when we get a moon during the daytime? Of course, the sun and moon at the same time. What does the other side of the supposed ball Earth get? The sun and the moon basically circle around the flat Earth, just like a clock. This is exactly what you're seeing.
Yeah, bro. So, that's about it, bro. Like, that's about the black sun. So, see you guys in another video.